Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to The Winning Leap. I'm Devina Lasson. Now, over the last few weeks, we've shown you the core issues plaguing effective development in India today and given you, the viewer, a comprehensive look at challenges faced across sectors and winning leap solutions to overcome these hurdles. Now, today, on the last episode of the series, we survey an Indian tradition, the family business. Take a look. The family business in India is an institution that is deeply ingrained into the fabric of our nation. While it has seen changes in nature and structure in modern times, the strong roots of family and legacy remain the same.
Family businesses are actually a very dominant force in our ecosystem, And if you really look at it, they are actually growing and doing well in the market. If you look at the global landscape, more than 1/3 of the Fortune 500 companies are actually family owned or family controlled, And if you look at the emerging markets also, and research shows that, companies with which is having $1 billion turnover, the family business component, business account as much as 60% of that. So what it says is that, look here, family businesses are very important, they're growing, and actually they are growing with the changing times, and we see that happening in India as well.
Family businesses are not without challenges. The competition is usually intense, price, pressure growing, and the speed of change is often difficult to keep up with.
I think there is a huge amount of opportunity which currently exists for these businesses in terms of being able to partner with the world outside of them. As we're saying, we're now becoming a global economy, and as competition rises, these guys could get displaced unless and until they were to sort of be more competitive, and this would mean that they need to sort of sharpen their productivity, sharpen their competitiveness. Some of this might mean that they actually have to partner with somebody outside. Could be an Indian family group or business, could be someone outside of them, to retain the edge.
In family-run businesses today, a powerful family factor exists, which many firms have not addressed, and some are even reluctant to acknowledge.
Succession is the ultimate test for a family business now. Having said this, I think family business can do a number of things to navigate through the process. I think to begin with, they should realize that succession is not an event but a journey, which means that they have to start the process at an appropriate time. Second, they should ensure they begin the process when there is no conflict in the family. If there is a conflict, it becomes almost impossible to do anything, howsoever small the conflict may be. The third important thing is the family should have a shared vision, taking into account all the individual aspirations that the family has. This is again very critical because that is what will drive the families to work together. The fourth important thing again is that they should have a document that very clearly puts out or lays down the rights and obligations of all the family members.
The generational gap between the current leadership and the successors is significant, both in terms of credibility and communication. But what can family-run businesses do to bridge that gap?
So it is imperative on the part of the elders or the senior family members to engage proactively with the next-gen members, because I think it will be slightly out of turn if you expect the next-gen members to question the family members, unlike professional organizations where anyone in the, like any organization, anyone can question the boss if their expectations are not met. I think it is for the seniors, elders in the family to do what is necessary. I think what we've seen to address this is that many families have set up next-gen committees where the next-gen members meet together, they come to a view, and that view is heard by the family members. And beyond that, there are also a lot of informal setups that has been set up to ensure that the next gen have their voice heard. And we've also seen next-gen members shadowing the parents or the elders to board meetings and general meetings. This way we'll be able to know what is happening in the business and also communicate effectively.
While succession may be inevitable, it's no secret that credibility comes with professionalization. Family-run businesses must ensure their leadership takes the necessary steps towards professionalizing the family.
Over a period of time, as the family grow in size, it is imperative for families to professionalize the business, simply because everyone in the family cannot be a CEO or a managing director. And some point in time, it is better to externalize and bring in professionals to run the company, so that you very clearly distinguish between the ownership and the management. So the management continue with professionals, whereas you still have a stake in the company and get the benefits out of the ownership that you have. But I mean, there's no doubt that you have to professionalize. That gives more credibility to the business. But I would think the active involvement of at least some of the family members gives that much more passion to the business, and they will drive the growth beyond what professional managers can do.
The institution of the family business isn't going anywhere. And now that we've shown you the situation as it stands today with its challenges, it's time for a short break. When we return, we take an in-depth look at the internal as well as the external challenges that plague this grand old tradition. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The Winning Leap. Now, before the break, we showed you the state of the family-run businesses in India today. Now it's time to go a little bit deeper and take a look at both the internal as well as the external challenges that plague the family-run business. Keeping it in the family doesn't always mean safety and security. There are a number of roadblocks a family-run business in India has to deal with. Concerns about reorganization, business and product development, and HR matters can keep the best family businesses from flourishing. The problems are not always in the company's control. External forces, such as market conditions and uncertain market regulations, could be at work too.
Well, I suppose, technology revolution is, is all pervasive and is impacting all businesses, including family businesses. And most family businesses are actually embracing that, and if you look at some of the frameworks and technology enablement they have actually had in place, they are keeping in, they're actually in, they're doing well on their account, and whether to actually have a better customer experience or whether to actually outbeat the competition, I think family businesses are also going digital and getting technology enabled.
A family-run business must use best practices to overcome the challenges placed before them in a modern world. Now, there's no simple route to success if you're a family-run business in India. However, we can attempt to provide winning leap solutions to the challenges faced. On that note, I'd like to invite Mr. Indranil Roy Chaudhary to the show. Sir, welcome. So, sir, let's begin at the top. The Indian-run family business is a critical part of the Indian economy. However, where do you see them placed on the roadmap ahead, given that we are moving aggressively towards a developed and a changed economy in the future?
It's been a great journey for Indian entrepreneurs in all these years. They are now of course getting the advantage of the foreign direct investments, private equity and venture capitals and all of that. And they are pretty resilient, and they are playing side by side with multinationals in this country. Most of the family-run businesses, they are looking at growth very aggressively. Around 2/3 of them, they are looking at growth. They also are looking at diversification, more exports, indigenization of foreign components, etc. But there are inherent risks and challenges that they face, and that's more or less in tune with what the family businesses around the world face today. There are challenges on finance, on recruitment, on innovation, and on succession planning, and these are very, very fundamental to some of these family businesses.
So, Mr. Chaudhary, could you shed some light, please, on the role that corporations and big corporates should play in supporting the Indian entrepreneur?
If India were to grow to a $10 trillion economy in the next 20 years, we must create around 10 to 12 million jobs a year. And that's not possible for organized large corporations to absorb this kind of employment. So the large corporates, multinationals, they have a very big role to play in creating this atmosphere for the entrepreneurs today. That creates an infrastructure and an environment in which you have the markets, you have the business, you have the employment generation, and gradually these become the nodal hubs of the Indian business houses. So that's how it has grown, and we see this happening more in the coming days. Well, of course, the large corporations have a big role to play. They must be mentoring some of these entrepreneurs in innovation, in bringing them into the modern age and stuff. So I think there is a large role for them to play in the coming days.
Now let's talk a little bit about succession planning. Can you shed some light on why this is an important exercise for family-run businesses in India today?
You know, succession planning has become of paramount importance because you've seen recently if you don't have a very structured and organized way in which the baton is passed on to the next generation, it creates a lot of disturbance, it creates a lot of animosity. Every 10 years, the generation next is a completely different generation. They don't see eye to eye with the previous generation. And I would think that it is very, very important for us to have a good governance in place in terms of succession.
Now, you've brought up the issue of the next generation. Tell me, what happens when the next generation has aspirations beyond the family business?
That's interesting. In today's day and age, if somebody decides not to join the family business, the family head is put under pressure to see how does he kind of continue with the legacy that he has created. But of course, there are, as we see Indian businesses being open to professionalization, they would look at the market, get the right guys to run the business, and they are not averse to that. We have seen that in various family-run businesses to happen. But we see that in majority of the cases, as we have surveyed, somebody within the family the next generation would take up the responsibility. And of course, he has to be fit and the right person for the right job.
Great. All right. Well, on that very promising note, thank you so much, sir, for being on the show. And thank you for simplifying the very complex issues that family businesses do face today.
Thank you, Lavina.
Thank you. It's time for a very short break, but don't go anywhere, because when we return, we take you into the inner workings of a successful family business and find out what is their formula to success. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The Winning Leap. Now, we've shown you the challenges and the winning leap solutions for family businesses in India. It's now time to take a look at those who have gotten it right time and again, the success stories that are aspirational for family businesses in India.
If I look at it as a formula for success, I think we have had 2-3 different approaches. One would be to say that we are focused on building a uniquely differentiated model from the service delivery which we have adopted, where we have acquired capabilities which are used in advanced geographies and brought them or applied them into the Indian and the Asian markets which are lesser developed. The second approach has been on the leadership side. So I would say wherever we have made our success of our growth has been the fact that we have managed to integrate companies which we have acquired by bringing in that leadership into our fold and making them our company's leaders.
There are specific advantages to being a family-run business in India. Reduced principal-agent conflict, shareholder loyalty, trust capital and owner bonus, and long-term stability, to name a few.
I think smaller companies will need to take risk. They will need to take risk at a time which is appropriate in their mind. I mean, individual entrepreneurs will have to think as to when they will take that risk. But as far as whether it's India or anywhere in the world, I don't think you're going to achieve success or growth unless you take that one big leap of faith. that big can be defined in terms of money value, can be defined in terms of the geography you are covering or the new market you are entering into. You will do all the work which you will need to do to be prepared scientifically, but finally it's still a big chance whether you're going to be successful or not, which I think in many cases is beyond the effort which you may make.
To garner success as a family business, the leadership needs to know their customer inside out and maintain an innovative mindset to foster growth. When it comes to family businesses that have grown successfully, one name comes to mind, the N. Ranga Rao & Sons Group. And I'm here today with Mr. Arjun Ranga, who's going to give us an insight into running a winning business. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, I believe your business has been in operation for over 6 decades. Can you take us a little bit through the history of the company, how it was started and by whom?
Well, the true entrepreneur in our family was my grandfather, Sri N. Ranga Rao. Very humble beginnings. He lost his father and mother very early in life. I heard from my father that sometimes he used to go to the wholesale market, buy sweets, sell it to people in school, and that's how he would actually make good with his tuition fees. So he was a true entrepreneur, and around 1947 when India got independence, he decided to start something on his own. Savings of 500 rupees, 4 children, aged mother and grandmother, took the big risk and moved to Mysore, which was the nearest city, and started our family business, N. Ranga Rao & Sons. Very soon he realized that 3 critical things makes a difference in any business. One is ethical business values. You need to have a solid brand, and you need to be able to get to the customer very fast. And that's when he came up with the word cycle agarbattis, because it's the same anywhere in the country. A cycle is called a cycle no matter where you go, in Hindi, in English, in Tamil, in Telugu, and anything. And the first thing he said was cycle agarbatti is as affordable as a cycle, and everybody can aspire to have one.
Okay. Can you talk to us a little bit about the evolution of your company, both in terms of the product design and the growth and development?
The second generation of our family business is what actually created the foundation for what we have today. Over the years, family also believed in diversification. In 1978, we started an essential oil business called Natural Essential Oils, where we started jasmine and tuberose floral extracts. What started as a small business then started to expand with multiple diversifications over the years.
Now, if we look at the issue of family businesses in India holistically, almost every business is faced with the challenge of reorganization, of succession, of keeping up with market trends. Can you take us through some of the challenges that your group has faced, especially during the formative years?
Innovation has always been a key, right, for us as a business. We were the first ones to actually start organized distribution in the agarbatti industry. Innovation not just in terms of the business as all, but we as a people as well have evolved over the years in terms of family business practices. Our family actually requires us to get outside work experience before we come back and join the family business. So I came back to India in 2000 and I joined the family business. Our family, actually the second generation, told us to script their exit. They actually did not tell us how we needed to enter the business. So I actually started managing a smaller part of the family business, and then I took over a region of the family business, the north and the east markets. Then I started to take care of the exports business, and in 2005 is when I actually took over the entire family business, and then my dad and uncles decided to take a advisory role. And not just an advisory role, it's amazing actually, they reduced their shareholding as well and transferred the shares on to us in the second generation to the third generation as the business started to progress. This is something that we seldom see in family businesses, and I think it's something commendable about our second generation, my father and my uncles, what they did.
Great. You've highlighted this point of innovation really being key. So what is the advice that you can give to some of the aspiring family businesses out there, just so that they can optimize their growth, and maybe any best practices that you have observed that you could share?
You need to learn to let go and delegate as a family business. I mean, that's one big thing that I learned from our second generation, was that my father and uncles never actually sat at the cash register. They were actually thinking as entrepreneurs, growing the business. I see that as a very big limiting factor to a lot of my friends who actually want to control things a lot. I think that was one big initiative that the second generation took, where they created a professionally run organization where the owners actually took the role of an entrepreneur quite aggressively, and that's one of the biggest reasons why NR Group has 4 diversified businesses, not completely related to each other, but with the management principle and ethos that's across the organizations.
Right. So now the NR Group is also very well known for distributing products across 50 countries across the world. Tell us, how do you keep up with the ever-changing government regulations, volatile markets? What is your formula for success?
The agarbatti industry saw a splurge of growth around the time, last 2000. With the advent of Ayurveda, yoga and spirituality, agarbatti became an instant connect with the West. You light an agarbatti and that whole yin-yang spiritual ambience is created. We saw a huge growth as well, and today we are in about 65 countries because of that. Yes, it's a huge challenge for us to manage not just government changes and currency fluctuations, but local laws as well, local regulations. Brazil requires a certain type of packaging. The neighboring country Argentina is completely different. The US has certain norms. The EU has a completely different norm. It is a challenge, but I think that's where the opportunity also lies. What is difficult should actually become the opportunity.
Right. Well, that's very inspiring, sir. And on that note, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm sure there are various aspiring family businesses who will be taking your advice today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, that's all we have for you here on The Winning Leap. We do hope you've enjoyed our series on the core issues that are plaguing effective development in India. From the entire team, many thanks for watching.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.